What do you think we accomplished today as a government, as a Congress, as if we were all in this together? What was accomplished, or is it all zero-sum?
Yeah, well, nothing good. I think all we accomplished was to further undermine the American public's confidence in Congress and what we're doing here. I mean, if there was any doubt that this panel, led by the majority Republicans, is purely a partisan exercise to go after Secretary, today removed any of that doubt. It has been just an aggressive attack on Secretary Clinton. We've learned absolutely nothing new. In fact, from one line of questioning to the next, they ask the same questions over and over again. All of stuff which has been contained in previous reports, the 8 previous reports that have been done on this. So, but at the very beginning, I was skeptical that anything new could be found. This committee is proving it.
Well, they were talking, Gowdy put out before that he was doing, as he called them, 3 tranches before, during, and after the attack. They talked about before and all the messages asking for more resources, et cetera, et cetera. Then, of course, they talked about after the question how they spun, or they were accused of spinning the cause of the whole thing. But what was missing was the heart of this thing. It didn't seem that anybody got to any question of Hillary's narrative, which she presented, I thought, so well and eloquently, about what did she do when she heard her ambassador was under assault and in danger. And everything she did to try to deal with it, no one really questioned. And that's the heart of the charge against her, that she was delinquent. She was asleep at the switch. And they never really challenged that.
Yeah, well, the problem with that charge is it's completely untrue, as those previous reports indicated. They responded as quickly and tried to do everything they could under the circumstances. So there was nothing there. And that's why they didn't go after that. They had to sort of tangentially circle around the issue, all trying to criticize the secretary. And again, this shouldn't primarily be about Secretary Clinton. And I think one of the most damning things about this, which has been asked by several members, where is the then Secretary of Defense? Where is the then CIA director? If we really want to get at what happened, let's bring in the key players who were all involved. This wasn't just the State Department. But then again, it is just the then Secretary of State who's running for president.
Why do you think they keep saying the 2 words Sid Blumenthal? They keep saying the words, never just Blumenthal, never just Sid, always Blumenthal, Sid Blumenthal, Sid Blumenthal. I mean, I don't know if it was mentioned 200 times today, as if we all know who he is, and nobody outside of the Washington media list has any idea who we're talking about.
Yeah, no, they are obsessed with him, and I think it's all part of the broader effort to embarrass Secretary Clinton politically. And, as was pointed out, Chairman Gowdy, has gone on and said, he doesn't want to talk about the Clinton Foundation. He doesn't want to, and then he does. And then he focuses on that, and he focuses on the fact that Sidney Blumenthal worked for Media Matters. I mean, what does that have to do with what happened in Benghazi? And let me be clear. What happened in Benghazi was incredibly serious and deserved a thorough investigation. I've never denied that. It's just that I feel that it got that thorough investigation from those 8 separate panels, and that this panel is not giving a thorough investigation. It is being purely partisan and purely political. And that, again, it's not good for the institution of Congress.
You and I have watched it over the years, ever since we've had a problem with Islamism in the Middle East, ever since there's been a turmoil over there, which has been a long time. Let's say just going back to Bobby Kennedy being assassinated by Sirhan Sirhan. This issue of East and West and the Islamic terrorism has been going on for a long time. And all these attacks on our embassies in East Africa and in the Middle East and all this stuff, losing people like Foley years ago, I remember that, in Amman. It all is considered, this is the kind of stuff that happens. It's a dangerous area, dangerous people in the streets. You can't isolate our envoys. And yet the Republicans act like this is the only time this has ever happened, and it's worthy of a permanent investigation. How do they justify it in the back halls of Congress? How do they say this is different than all the Marines blown up in their barracks in 1983, the embassy being attacked back there, all the stuff that's happened over the years? How do they separate it out and say, oh, this is the one we must never let go?
Well, look, I don't know how to do it in any sort of justifiable manner. The only way that makes sense is, like I said, is they see a political advantage in pushing it. And again, I don't accept that, these things should happen. I think we should have investigated this. I think we should do everything we can to prevent it happening in the future. But we have done that. Again, and this committee has an entirely different agenda that is partisan and political.
Well, thank you so much. It's great.